Joining me right now, the president of the Sacramento Republic Football Club, somebody who has a beautiful family and I'm sure had a wonderful wedding, and like me, has a wife that puts up with all his shenanigans and rarely, if ever, complains. I don't know if that's true or not, but we're going to go with that because they might be listening right now. It's the one, the only Benjamin Gumpert from Rio Americano High School in Carmichael, California. Ben and Dave, good morning.
Good morning. Let's definitely go with that as the story, and it's a heck of a lead-in.
I would imagine that's the only time you've ever had a lead-in like that in all the media interviews you have ever done.
Undoubtedly. And you always break the mold, Dave. That's why we love you.
Thank you. Rodrigo Lopez is going to be a guest of mine at 8:35 on Monday, and I'm trying to think, maybe you're the right guy to ask, is that going to be his only activity on Monday, or does he have something else going on? See, there's a lead.
Funny you asked. He's got a lot going on, but it's nothing better to start the day than chatting with you and all the listeners out there. But Monday's a big day. It is our return, our official return, our long-awaited return.
Yes.
Back to the field. And it's going to be weird. It's going to be different. There aren't going to be fans in the stadium. But our squad, our Republic, will be playing right there on the field at Pop Murphy's Park. They've been working really hard under all these scenarios over the past few months. Obviously, we focus a lot on community, which we'll talk about, but I couldn't be more excited about having a game, having a real match, and doing what we do best, which is give something for this entire city to root for. We certainly need that more than ever. Bring people together around the TV, root on Republic, and let's keep it going.
As a long-time play-by-play voice, radio-wise, Rob McAllister's counterpart, I feel like I'm still kind of a fringe member of the media team for Republic.
Yeah, we'll say that.
Okay,
let's say that. We'll give that to you.
Maybe off-air we can work something out, because I don't know. When you said that, I got this idea, if there's no fans allowed at Papa Murphy's Park, I got this idea of I would just like to sit in the middle of one of the sections, like way up with a megaphone, and just sing all the battalion songs, just by myself,
yeah.
Sing and go for it. And in all seriousness, I mean, there's no fans, but that doesn't mean there's not going to be a lot of excitement there. And we're going to get to how the fans can be involved as well. But I would imagine the players are aware that this is going to be, in some ways, the weirdest game they've ever played, but also maybe the most relieving game they've ever played, because it just sucks not being able to play soccer.
Yeah, and from talking to the guys, and you'll talk with Roro, yeah, I mean, I think this is what they've been, this is what they do. And again, they do more than just play soccer, but this is where they shine. This is where they come together. This is where they show their hard work. And like you said, it's going to be different, but it's going to be neat. I think it's going to be powerful in a way. You'll have some of the quietness. We're working with our supporters, as you know, TBB and our entire fan base is amazing. They'll do their own virtual watch parties, and I'm sure we'll find ways to get the chants involved. We might even have a supporters view camera so that people can even reference that and see what it would look like if they were standing with TBB in that north end. Again, with all that's going on, with all that's happened in this community and everywhere, right, around racial injustice, around the amazing work of all of our frontline workers, especially in healthcare, and obviously we're extremely tight with UC Davis Health and Raley's, who's continues to be an amazing partner, has done so much. And all of their workers and frontline workers have done so much over these past few months. It's a good also way to thank them and to understand the moment. Like I said before, we've always been about having something that everybody in Sacramento can root for, whatever corner, whatever race, creed, religion that in Sacramento, in this diverse community, we can all root and come around Republic. And I think this Monday night will be as much of a showcase for that as anything.
Ben Gumpert joining us, president of the Sacramento Republic, back in action Monday, and we'll obviously in this interview talk to you about where you can watch them and some of the things Republic have planned for you to make it more fun and exciting since you can't be there. Ben, I want to ask you, though, this might be the first major sport returning, certainly in Sacramento, maybe even in California, if not one of the first. Nobody likes to see how laws and sausages are made, and I'm very aware of that. But I am curious. I know that you and I are both fairly close to Kevin Nagel and that ownership group, and I know that he was. I know you guys did everything you could to try to. There were many different plans and ideas thrown out there, and you had to kind of balance between what was best for fans and both health-wise and also serving them in the community. Could you just share with us a little bit just how difficult was this, some of the steps you had to take? I'm sure there's a whole lead-up coming into Monday's game.
Yeah, I mean, I've never had so many, 50, 100-page documents, prepared, knowing that many would go in the trash, meaning that we had to prepare for any number of scenarios and be ready and be diligent. Of course, making sure that the health of our players, our staff, our fans, were all taken into account first and foremost. But that there's a whole bunch of factors at play to do things in the right way, but safe, but also promote, make sure that we're doing our job to promote the club, promote the community, promote the city. And as you know, that's, anytime you talk to Kevin, that's number one on the list. Like what's the right thing to do? How can we make sure we're balancing all these things? And, worked very closely with the governor's office, with county health officials in this case, who made the call, given all that's gone on, especially in these past couple of weeks, that, hey, for now, this is going to be no fans for these first couple matches. We'll see what goes. Certainly we are all rooting together as a community that people are adhering to all the guidelines and being safe for their own sake and for others, and that we can get through this, and we will get through this together, that fans will once again cheer us on, come together, and do it the right way and make what is, that Republic experience so special. We hope that it's next month, excuse me. And that's our goal right now. But yeah, it was decided that there weren't going to be any fans for these first couple games. We understand. And now we're just going to do everything like we always do. It's, hey, roll with it. How can we make this the most Republic experience we can, right? How can we make sure that everybody's involved, that fans are involved? So we have a bunch of virtual watch parties that people can sign up for on our website on sacrepublicfc.com. We have one for the Spanish language, only one in English. There's other supporter groups popping up. We'll have some surprises on there with some pregame, a Facebook Live that's going to have a pregame. We're going to have some guests. Some of our players will be able to join in at various points. So, like we said, it's going to be different, but hey, we're going to make it special. We're going to make it cool. We're going to make it what makes Republic stand out, and that's our fans, that's our traditions, that's our chants, and that's our connection that we all feel together. So that is not going to be different. Maybe the way it's done is different, but that feeling is not going to be different. And I'm excited to see how we as a community come together on Monday and how everybody tunes in and plays a role.
Sac Republic President Ben Gumpert on with us right now. Ben, before we move to the X's and O's of this, also I want to give you a chance. Listen, you work for Kevin, and that's one thing. I don't, but I think it's very important to acknowledge this. Minor league sports, and right now still, Republic's a minor league sport as you move forward to MLS. And we've talked about not just Republic, but River Cats and other minor league teams on the show throughout COVID-19. It's different. It's a different animal because there aren't huge TV contracts. Your guys' income is largely, almost entirely made up of fans in attendance and concessions and parking and everything else that goes into people going to an event. And when you cannot do that, there's that income, what are effectively small businesses, gets cut off. What I think is amazing about ownership and in this, Kevin in particular here, Kevin Nagel, is you guys haven't just been sitting around, sad about not playing. We've seen Republic involved in the community in so many different ways, including something we were involved in as a partnership here, along with Rayleigh's Indomitable Hands, taking care of seniors who still to this day need groceries and are getting them. I got to imagine, I say I got to imagine, that's stupid. Of course it feels good to have that type of support from above to where you can still function and be a part of the community, even when you're not, kicking the ball around.
Yeah, I mean, you said it all. I mean, to say that our business has been impacted is an understatement, right? We, in the sport we're in the league we're in, we're north of 95%, I guess, without getting into all of our books, is tied to our matches. And when we can't have those and can't have fans, that obviously fundamentally changes. But again, you've known Kevin, and when I met him, I guess almost 10 years ago now, or more than 10 years ago now, in the fight to save the Kings, this has always been,
yep.
Okay, like yes, that happened. We can sit here and complain about it, or what are we gonna do?
Right.
And how can we pivot, and how can we make sure that we're still doing things to help? And that's what we've done. And again, it hasn't been easy. And rest assured, nothing is lost on me that many others in the community across organizations, health, racial injustice, and otherwise are going through a ton. But it's always about, hey, how can we? And this is straight from Kevin. How is we as an organization can help? Sprung right into action on Indomitable Hands. Mm-hmm. Thanks to you guys. Thanks to Rayleigh's. I mean, through those programs and others, delivered well north of tens of thousands of meals, especially to seniors, especially to those in underserved communities. It's been unbelievable. First partner, Jen Newsom, joined me to drop off some groceries at some seniors, some former military members, which was unbelievable just to hear their stories. They've been doing what they're told, which is, hey, they're compromised, they're staying at home. They haven't seen, in many cases, at least live, haven't seen their family, not able to go out and get groceries. So to raise money, have our fans, of course. Again, what could be more Republic than that? Through scarves that we had where all the net proceeds were donated to Indomitable Hands, through other, just donations that have come in, and I mean an outpouring of support on that. Yep. Also tens of thousands of dollars to support that have enabled us to deliver more and more meals for months now, I could have never, admittedly, I never thought the program would turn into what it has been, and we're going to continue to find ways to help with food insecurity, to help in underserved communities, to help promote jobs, obviously, as we move toward MLS and construction jobs and permanent jobs and everything that's going on in the rail yards. This is about how can we not just promote jobs in the economy, but in the right areas and support that. So, hey, this is, you get your cards and you do the most with what you have. And I'm proud that we have Kevin, we have an ownership group, and we have a club and a community surrounding it, and a staff that always, jumps right into action and figures out what we can do to help. And I hope that never changes. I don't think that'll ever change long after I'm gone. And as this club is hopefully titles and championships and MLS titles, over decades, that should be something that is a constant and never changes. And it's fun to be at the beginning parts of it.
And I'll piggyback off what Ben says before the next question, but that's why when we have the conversation about why sports are so important, why with the Kings it was bigger than basketball, why with the Republic bigger than soccer ball doesn't sound right, but you get the point that it's not just the entertainment we get from the games themselves, which is obviously the main reason we want sports locally is the sports themselves, but it is bigger than sports, and we've seen that so much over the last few months with the Republic and everything they've done. That's something I'm very, very passionate about. You and I both grew up in Carmichael. We're very passionate about this community, Ben, and to see that executed and to see people really get helped at a time when there isn't sports going on, and it's not just an off season when massive amounts of money are being lost all over the place. So to effectively have employees being paid to do charitable works around town while the books are upside down, I know you're probably not the most comfortable talking about that, but I'm going to talk about that because it's important, and it drives home the reason why sports are so important locally. Now, let me ask you about X's and O's without getting too deep, but there's some hardcore Republic fans listening right now. They're saying, okay, yeah, that's all great, but what's going on with the team? For people that have not seen this team in a long time, any changes, any things people might see personnel wise that are new, X's and O's wise? There's a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, there is. I mean, since it's crazy to think it was a little more than 4 months ago. I think 4 months ago yesterday is when we had our first and only regular season match. And there was a lot of new characters, new head coach, Mark Briggs and his staff, who, by the way, going back to your last question, talk about springing to action, the number of deliveries that they've made, the number of Zoom calls they've dropped in with kindergarten classes, first grade, second grade, you name it. I literally lost count. It is unbelievable what our coaching staff and our players have done while they're still in shape, while they're still going through distance training, all those things, to be a part of every single community effort that we talked about. Literacy, working with students, health, food insecurity, etc. So, I think that's the tie. But yeah, just such a great group of guys, that have continued to push forward. So with our, new coaching staff who's, gone through this with players, you can imagine how much of a character build this has been. Roro obviously returning, and had his first match, and I still, it feels like a long time ago, but that 4 months ago, and have him introduced as a sub was huge. We've signed a new 15-year-old to academy contract, Rafa, who is just a beast out there. There's new rules, actually. We have 5, for the hardcore fans, normally you have 3 subs a game. We have 5 subs that you can have because the season is going to be a little bit different and shortened. So you're going to see more players out there at different times. You're going to see some of our young guys. We have 2 17-year-olds that started. Actually, one of them turned 18 during this pandemic, but 2 of them were in the starting lineup for March. So we got the whole gamut. We got, just some young guys, all of whom, by the way, grew up in Sacramento and grew up through the amazing club system. There's just enormous talent here. Talk about, giving me excitement. And again, I know our fans' excitement about what bodes well for the future of why Sacramento can and should and will be a powerhouse in any league, MLS included, because of the talent we have here. That'll be on display. So it's, again, there's going to be some things that look different. The one thing that's not going to be is just the dedication of our guys and what they've done to come together. And I think we're going to see an exciting brand of football out there, of soccer, given both our youth, how hungry everybody is, the experience. You have Declan Keenan, Roro. You have some returning players. You have, our local kid. We won't talk about him because he went to Jesuit, Cam Iwasa, but it's quite a group of players that are super talented on the field, and I'll still always say I'm even more proud of who they are as men and as community members and what they do for those in need here in Sacramento.
You signed a player. You're old enough to be his dad. No, I bet you that's the first time you've.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Well, I'm older than you, so
that's true.
Let's relax on the whole 15. Did you stop and think about what you were doing when you were 15? Well, you were doing good things, but I wasn't doing good.
I was trying.
Ben, you're the man, and I know it's been a challenging few months for you, for Kevin, for the ownership team, for the players, for the coaches. Looking forward to Monday. Appreciate everything you're trying to do for the fans and for the community. We will continue to update everybody both here and online. All the neat things, some of which I know, some of which will be a surprise to me too, that you're going to do to make the viewing party, the viewing experience more pleasurable. And then, of course, we'll talk to Rodrigo Lopez on Monday. Always a pleasure, my man. It's been too long. We haven't talked you and I never talk anymore, so it's good to hear your voice. Yeah, let's do better at staying in touch. Excited. Thanks as always for having me on.
Let's go Republic. Let's kick some butt on Monday at 7 p.m. I can say butt on radio, right?
Yes, you can. Yeah,
okay.
We'll just delay it. Thanks, buddy.
Got it.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show on Sports 1140 KHTK.